So it turns out the Trudeau government isn't going to be able to kill quite as many Canadian citizens in the next year as it had been hoping to. Here's the headline. MAID, now that's Medical Assistance in Dying, MAID expansion to the mentally ill to be delayed 1 year under new bill. So they had been planning to, in March, expand this medical assistance in dying to the mentally ill, so the depressed, the schizophrenic. And kind of reminds me, there was another country that euthanized the mentally ill, wasn't there? Where were they? Weren't they somewhere in Europe, say 1933 to 1945 roundabouts? Now, nobody is saying there's not a place for assistance in dying in special cases, terminal illnesses, cases where somebody's not going to get better and it's just pain. You're just condemning somebody to needless and pointless pain and suffering. Again, they're not going to get better. And at that point, yeah, maybe it does become a matter of dignity, right? And compassion. But it is something that you need to take the greatest caution with, isn't it? And you certainly want to at least be able to make sure that people can actually consent to this stuff. And when you're talking about mental illness, doesn't that raise issues with consent? It seems like just expanding it out to, again, things like depression and mental illness generally is not being very cautious. This just seems insanely reckless, which should come as no surprise because it's coming from the Trudeau government.
You'll forgive me if I don't think about monetary policy.
Anyway, it says here the Justice Minister, David Lametti, says he wants to ensure everything is in place before the program is expanded. And I think this is probably their way of just dumping this unpopular program slowly and with the least amount of embarrassment for the government. And why might people have questions about the government's ability to ethically do this, or anything, frankly? Well, remember that pro-euthanasia commercial in Canada? There was a woman, Jennifer Hatch, 37, who was the central figure of All Is Beauty, a 3-minute film produced by Simons that celebrated Hatch's last days before seeking medically assisted death. Well, it turned out she actually wanted to live. And she actually told a Canadian news channel about it. Last week, CTV confirmed that Hatch was the same woman who had spoken to them in June about her failed attempts to find proper treatment for Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, a rare and painful condition in which patients suffer from excessively fragile skin and connective tissues. Quote, I feel like I'm falling through the cracks, so if I'm not able to access health care, am I then able to access death care? And that's what's led me to look into MAID. And that's what she told CTV in June. Like more than 1 million British Columbians, Hatch was left without primary care after her family doctor moved away. Yeah, 1 million British Columbians. I believe it's 5 million, at least 5 million across Canada that just don't have a family doctor, can't get one. I can't get one. And so I should say to people out there who envy Canada's healthcare system, there are undeniably some good things about it, absolutely. But there's also some really bad things about it, and it's getting worse. And it's been getting a lot worse under Trudeau. Says, and so after her diagnosis 10 years ago, Hatch's treatment had largely consisted of a chaotic and ineffective stream of specialist appointments, none of whom had any background in her condition. Quote, it's far easier to let go than to keep fighting. How about this? RCMP called to investigate multiple cases of veterans being offered medically assisted death. Veterans Affairs Minister Lawrence Macaulay apologizes for appalling interactions. But keep in mind, the mental health thing hasn't kicked in yet, right? This is before that. Yeah, and none of these veterans wanted to die, by the way. Oh, how about this one? The Paralympian who wanted a stair lift got offered euthanasia. See, quote, I have a letter saying that if you're so desperate, madam, we can offer you medical assistance in dying. Christine Gauthier told a Canadian Veterans Affairs Committee. So yeah, I guess people start to get a little bit nervous when they realize their government is offering to kill everybody. Because I guess that's the caring, empathetic way, right? You know, Trudeau said that Canada doesn't have a core national identity. Well, I guess we're getting one, aren't we? Anyway, please subscribe, like, and share. Sharing really helps me out. Thank you for that. I will see you next time.